Should I buy native plugins or UAD plugins? Now, the simple answer to this one is, if you have the UAD version, right, use it. If you have the native version, you have enough CPU power, use that one. It doesn't, there's no difference between the UAD and the native. In terms of what you're getting from the plugin, there's no difference. Plugin Alliance do a lot of the UAD plugins as native versions. Even a lot of companies who have their plugins on UAD, like Sonox, they have their plugins as native versions. The key benefit to a UAD plugin running on a DSP chip is that basically there's two major reasons. One of them is the CPU load, taking it off of your computer. So your computer's no longer running those plugins. You've got a little box that's dedicated to running those plugins. The other major benefit is when you're tracking with UAD. If you've got one of the Apollo interfaces and you're tracking with the Apollo interfaces, you're getting zero latency with your plugins whilst tracking. So that's a major factor. So that if you were tracking with an Apollo interface, use the UAD plugins whilst doing that rather than the native plugins. So they have their benefits. There is, let's just get it straight, there is no difference between the UAD and the native. There's no difference in terms of sound. You may feel there is, and you know, we can all sit there and A/B blind tests, and placebo will play a factor in it, and we will think, you know, this one is this one's better than this one, and in reality, I'm told the code is exactly the same, so there is no difference. I personally, I own all. I've got the Plugin Alliance Mega subscription, so I've got all the native versions that are on UAD that are Brainworks built. I've also got them all on UAD as well, so I've got all the UAD plugins and all the Plugin Alliance plugins. I can use either, and they don't make any difference. I will, obviously, because I have an Octo card, I will opt to use all that CPU up, or that processing power in the Octo card in a session. I will choose to use that up over my computer's CPU. It just makes sense. But what you want to be doing is, if you've got a UAD, if you've got both, if you've got a UAD version and you've got a native version, obviously use the UAD box, the satellite or the card or whatever you've got, use that for the UAD only plugins, right? Then use your computer's hardware for stuff that you've got as both. For instance, yeah, so use the native plugins if there isn't a version on UAD. So just use the UAD card just for UAD only, and you can't get such things as the Ampex ones that you can't get any as native versions. You can only get them on UAD. Use those on the card, but use native, because there are no different. There is no massive difference between the two at all, other than the fact that you're using them one on a using different CPU. And really, I mean, that is really the I can't really go too much more into that, because that is it. That is the answer. Just use, if you've got both, it's just a case of what CPU you want to be using. There's no difference. Zero difference in terms of quality. You don't get better quality off of the UAD plugin, despite what anyone tells you. I think it's quite a proven fact now that they are both the same.